Ladies and gentlemen, we have tracked the history of the globalists. They funded Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Hitler, Pol Pot. They fund everybody. They are eugenicists. They are in power because they are the most ruthless, the most wicked, the most cunning. And good people could beat them if we would just admit evil existed. If we would just admit these psychopaths are operating. And I want the illusion shattered for police and military and the general public. People that serve the system, that think the system's good, that they go, well, I'm a good person, so the system must be good. No. No, the system is directed from the top by prime evil. By total, fundamental, foundational greed, avarice, and control freak. I mean, that is the spirit of this selfishness, this wickedness. And they write textbooks bragging. They've been caught thousands of times doing unbelievably horrible things to us. And they say they're doing it. The British government, the Australian government, the German government, the communists under the Russians. The Russians aren't doing it now. The Russians admit that the government was sterilizing people and poisoning the water, and they apologize and pay their people to have children now and don't have CPS running around grabbing kids. I'm not saying Russia's perfect. It's got a lot of mafia and corruption, but it certainly is different. Just from, proof is in the pudding. And this is real, ladies and gentlemen, and we're all in the boat together. I'm hoping this is just a beta test for future pandemics. As I've said, they're going to have more stage releases, training us how to be locked down, training us how to be controlled, because everything's incrementalism with these people. But going back to Dr. Sherri Tenpenny, doctor, I'm ranting here. It's just I think about how the smallpox shots killed so many people and they had to stop them. I think about how the anthrax shots, 2 separate times, they forced the troops to take them and killed people in mass. On record. And then nobody gets in trouble. I think about how Baxter gets caught doing all this stuff. I think about the homeless people trials, lying to them, and the homeless dying in mass. I mean, one group of homeless that were shot up, 23 died in one clinic in Poland? And then they've set the precedent now where we take the shots and we die, or all these people call that gave their daughters shots for Gardasil and they have autoimmune disorders now and are in wheelchairs. I mean, this is really happening, doctor.
Yes, it is. And what's really scary to me is what is the adjuvants that they're going to be putting into these shots. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that the adjuvants are going to be added. And just to, make sure everybody knows what an adjuvant is. I mean, we've got virus, which is called antigen, and then we have a chemical that gets put in it to make the antigen go farther. So if you've got a quart of antigen, but what you really need is 10 gallons of antigen, you put these additional adjuvants in there so you can use less of the virus per shot. The fact that we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars buying adjuvant from GlaxoSmithKline and from Novartis, we've already purchased it. We know that they're going to use it. The part about that that's really bad is that neither one of those, AS03 from GSK and MF59 from Novartis, are FDA approved for flu shots in this country. But they're going to use it, and they're going to use it by 2 means. One, they're going to say we're not going to have enough virus vaccine ready by the time we want to start this flu shot, so we're going to start putting some adjuvant in. We're going to declare that it's okay for use under the Federal Powers Act. The FDA can make that happen and fast track it, so we'll put it in the vaccine.
And then give them total liability protection. That's already been done. And for those that don't know, you're a medical doctor, but I've had other medical doctors on, virologists, all these experts. I've even had brain surgeons on, neurologists. And on record, they've known for 50-plus years that the different accelerants, the different things that these adjuvants that activate the immune system, that's what is causing the brain swelling, the burning out of the pancreas, the swelling in organs, the autoimmune diseases. They know, and you're saying this is going to be supercharged with that.
Yeah, it's going to be supercharged because these adjuvants have squalene in them, and the squalene in experimental animals has caused horrible side effects, including debilitating arthritis. The recent report that came out a couple of days ago said that they're really having trouble with this H1N1 virus that they have because it's not replicating as fast as they would like it to, and that the yields are only about 20% of what the normal yield would be for a virus that they're trying to create. So it's not growing very fast. They can't make very much of it. They only purchased a certain amount of it. So it's all leading to the conclusion, hey, government, hey, CDC, We need to put the MS59 and the ASO3 in there to spread it around so we've got enough for everybody.
Well, Doctor, I've also read studies.
Neither one of them have been tested in children.
Neither one have been tested in children. I've also read that a lot of these chemicals they add to elicit the autoimmune response have been associated with later reproductive problems. And so, of course, they like that because it ends up reducing fertility.
Well, and even the normal regular annual flu shot, by which they're saying that kids who are going to school this fall and if had not had a previous flu shot are supposed to get 4 flu shots before they go.
Oh, my God. I forgot to ask you that. I'm going to try to shut up here, but please go through this because there's thousands of points here. I have a family. You have a family. It's freaking me out as this freight train comes towards us, and somehow we've got to get the public to wake up and say no. That's the big issue here, is that they're saying like a placebo, go get old flu shots that they admit have no connection to this flu, give you no immunity, and people are already lined up at clinics and panicking for 3-4 months straight, getting all these ridiculous shots. And Dr. Obama says you need to take 3 shots. Now they're saying 4 shots. I mean, soon will it be your morning flu shot? Break that down, doctor.
Well, they're saying that the theory is that in order to develop an adequate immune response, you're supposed to get a vaccine followed up by a second vaccine. So if you have children who are 8 or 9 or 10 years old who have not previously had a flu shot of any kind, the recommendations that are coming out is that they'll get the regular flu shot. 3 weeks later, they'll get their booster on their regular annual flu shot. 3 weeks later, they'll get their swine flu shot. And 3 weeks after that, they'll get their booster of their swine flu shot. And then we'll see how many kids can actually function in school this year, as if it isn't already bad enough. And they're recommending that for kids 6 months of age and older. So, the adults are supposed to get 3 flu shots. They're supposed to get their annual seasonal flu shot, a swine flu, and a swine flu booster. But your kids, if they haven't had a previous one, they're supposed to get 4. I just think, it's almost like there's this concept that all that's in there is a little dead virus and a little sterile water, and so what harm is it going to cause? And a little is good, so a whole lot must be better. And what we're doing is causing a massive amount of problems in children and adults, and everybody needs to just get informed about this. Go to pandemicfluonline.com, go to drtenpenny.com, download the information and pass it out to your family and friends. Take it to your school, let the teachers know it, let the people in your daycare know it, put the principals on notice that you're not going to have that happening to your children in your school system. It's the only way that we're going to be able to stop this from all these vaccines happening in schools this year.
And Doc, that's my next 2 points, is we had big victories in 2002, 2003, when they tried to order the 14 million first responders to take the smallpox shot and said, it's the law, everyone will do it or you'll be fired. Firemen, police, medical workers, nurses, doctors, city workers, county workers, state workers. The majority of them said no, so that program stalled and died. We've had victories before over this, but they've been so successful fear-mongering with the pre-flu hype. They didn't have that with the smallpox. They just used 9/11 saying we just got hit a year ago. We're sure Al-Qaeda is going to use smallpox. People didn't buy that. But people have had the flu and know it really feels bad and know that it can kill you sometimes. So that's why this is so much more effective. That's why this fight is so important. So speak to our only recourse, I guess, is to educate, is to warn people, is to spread the word like our lives depend on it. With the articles at Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, Global Research has done a huge compendium article that's incredibly good. We've got linked up on Infowars.com. So A, educate everybody. We've got a fighting chance. B, I have the Washington Post buried in an article. Paul Watson's doing a story on it saying, oh, yeah, these flu shots have high levels of mercury. They've lied in the past and said they've taken the mercury out. Another lie. So speak to getting the word out and waking people up. And then the mercury angle.
Well, getting the word out is what I keep telling everybody they have to do. And everybody says, well, I don't know who I should talk to. Talk to everybody. I have a stack of flyers that I carry around with me in my purse and in the back of my car because I take them into everywhere. I say, here, and I've gone down the street by where my office is, and I've stopped with with these flyers. It's the truth about the flu shot, and you can get it off of my website, and it's all over the internet. And I don't even engage it with them in conversation. I just walk in and say, good morning, good afternoon, how are you? Here's some information I think you might be an interest in looking at, and turn around and walk out. So you don't have to stand there and debate anybody. And the worst that's going to happen is nothing. They throw it in the trash. But you never know whose hands that might end up in that might really make a difference. Your police department, your first responders, your sheriff, all these people need to know that you don't want this and that they may not even know what's going to be injected into their body. And once they know it, they might say, well, you know what? I don't want this either. And suddenly you've got an entire community that's going to rally around. So when the FEMA trucks come driving down your street and to look for people who haven't been vaccinated, you've got a community that's going to bond together and resist.
Well said. I want you to get into the mercury, but before we do that,